All right. Brad, I had a question for you before I move to requesting the audience for questions. It is about pollution-related issues, particularly in China, the fishing in China, what is the situation, and are there any specific problems relating to pollution which is inhibiting the certification of fisheries in China?
Well, first of all, the Marine Stewardship Council only does wild capture fisheries. We have a new sister organization called the Aquaculture Stewardship Council, which is beginning to certify farm fish operations.
So it's a super specialty on the top of MSC.
Yes. Well, it's not on the top, but they're side by side, let's say. So we don't deal with, a lot of the pollution issues have to do with farming rather than wild capture fish. I just wanted to come quickly back to something Nick said, though, because the smallholder issue is, we have the exact same issue, and the way that we've approached it is we're an outcome-based standard, and it's sometimes easier to demonstrate the outcome when you have information and data, but that's not the only way that you can demonstrate the outcome. And so we're working on a lot of what we call data deficient or proxy approaches to be able to demonstrate the same level of sustainable performance without massive amounts of data or research in place. And that's how we're dealing with the very same problem that we face that Nick does of small scale artisanal fishers, of which there are also tens of millions.
Smallholders and management of smallholders and bringing them into the fold for this certification system. I think Daryl also has the same issue of smallholders and getting them in online. Anyway, now I would request the audience, in case they have any questions. They are already getting impatient and maybe even wondering why this reporter has been asked to chair the session. That is because what we do is ask questions, questions, and questions. So now it is your turn. The gentleman from there, yes, please.
Thank you. My name is Teo Cheng Hai. And I would like to address the question is related to governance structure of roundtables. I think Alistair said that in FFC you have 3 chambers. And I know that when RSPO was being formed, they look at the FFC model, but what was eventually agreed is to be a sector-based, the key sectors in the supply chain, the 7 sectors. And I know that when RTRS was being formed, you looked at the RSPO model, and I think you also went to a sector-based type of composition. But there's one more round table that's not in this list here is the RSB, which is a round table for sustainable biofuels. And I know that they did look at the RSPO model, but eventually evolved to be that they went back to a chamber type of model, or to have more chambers than FFC. And interestingly is that one of the chambers actually was related to governments and government agencies. So the question to Alistair is that because you've been in existence for almost 20 years, is your chamber system working well for you? And have the other roundtables moved the wrong way, and did RSB move back into the right way? Thank you.
It depends who you ask. No, I think it does work. It gives us a lot of power in terms of the decisions that we take. So if we have a decision that's taken by the membership, and that consensus is formed between the social, environmental, and economic, it can carry a lot more weight. And people compromise. People are prepared to compromise. So we have people in our membership who have very different views and who disagree on things. But they end up coming together at a General Assembly and agreeing on some kind of consensus. So we have Greenpeace on one side of the room and some hardcore foresters on the other side, and some indigenous peoples groups who want different things, different outcomes they want to see. But if they can come to consensus, that becomes very powerful. And what that does in the marketplace is it allows us to, when we're working with big brands or retailers, they know that that hard work of consensus building has been gone through in the standard development process. So that if they use the FSC label, they're not likely to get attacked or by a social or an environmental NGO for the practices they do. So there's those kind of things, strengths it gives us. It also brings us lots of challenges in terms of being able to make decisions quickly, because we have to work through this complicated stakeholder base. And also, sometimes we can't do things that are maybe more dynamic that we would like to do because we can't get that consensus. But on the whole, we've seen it being very successful in keeping us going and keeping us strong and keeping that membership support. And the membership's still growing, and the General Assemblies are getting bigger. And so I think I'd say it has been successful.
Thanks, Alistair. Before I take any more questions from the floor, there is a written question which has come from William from PT Smart, and he wants to check whether there is a sale problem for certified products other than palm oil. He says palm oil, once certified, sometimes there is difficulty in selling it. So is this problem faced by other products? Say, Brad, you would be in a position. Say that if a product is certified, like marine product, then because of its premium value, the demand is less for a certified product. Is it the case?
Actually, we've found the opposite because we're still at a relatively small percentage of total global fish production. It's around 8 or 9%. Yet there are many major buyers, especially in Europe and North America, who are committed to buying certified sustainable product, that as soon as something's available, there's a lot of demand for it, and it actually has the opposite effect. It tends to create a bit of a price spike for a while, and then as more product becomes available, that levels out. But no, it's not
Right.
Our experience hasn't been the other.
Nick, about sugarcane, now 2% of the sugarcane is certified. You say, what's the response of the consumers?
I'm not sure about the consumer response because there isn't really.
Mill's response?
Well, the mill, the end users and the mills, that's the relationship. The mills are making it, the end users are buying it. Whether it's happening in perfect synchronization, I don't know, I doubt it. These things tend to be a lag, particularly in the early days. But I think what's really important to remember is the reason I'm confident about the way the Bonsucro is working is it was created by the entire sector. So the end users and the mills and all the other parties as well created this baby. So it's in their interest to actually sustain the life of this. It's in the nature of complex businesses that buyers, the traders, the millers and the customers will be out of sync in the early days. But I think this is a transitional phase, and to help nudge that along, we put in credit trading as well.
Maybe because it's early days, so as we go forward, things would change, because then these sugar packets will also be claiming that, yes, we were made from certified sugar cane and hence we are different.
we may not see much on packet labeling Bonsucro, and I won't be disappointed if we don't. It is largely, as Agustin talks about, a business-to-business operation. We all love our sugar. It's in almost everything we discover. But in terms of packets, there may be certain niches where we see Bonsucro label. It's not the end of the world if we don't, though.
Right. Like I have this folder here, it says printed on palm paper. So, Agustin, what about the response of trademarked or certified soya? Is it at a large premium, and what is the offtake?
Well, premium is an unavoidable issue for all of the roundtables and for all the producers in the world. But I guess it's a short-term view to talk about premiums, and sooner or later, all the system needs to find the other benefits from the certification processes, because if they only focus on the premium, this won't be sustainable at all.
But what about the demand? The demand for the certified soy?
The demand for the certified soy, of course, there is a certain commitment from national levels, like the Dutch industry, from some companies, individual companies, and they are demanding the product, they are paying a premium, but we are talking about a premium of between $3 or $5 per ton, when the soybean ton now is at $600, so it's less than 1% of the price of the product. So it's not a business even for the farmer, not a business for the chain, or not a business for the buyer, the issue of the premium. The issue of the premium is more a signal to the producer that they are sharing the process and the responsibility, more than not at the end. No farmers will take the option of certifying for the $5 or $3, because they have many other easier things to do at the farm level to have $3 or $4 more in production, like controlling better the harvesting or other things to earn this money. So at the end, it's more about a cultural change and about the paradigm change of the production and the whole chain, more than talking about a business. The premium by itself is not a business if it's less than 1% of the price.